Okay, so looks like we may be having a few difficulties with our principal, Mr. Rosenbaugh, but that is him, and I assure you that he will be here this evening to talk. So the purpose of our evening tonight is to provide all of you some information about what Centennial Middle School is going to look like when we open. We want to give you as much information as you can so that when you fill out the survey that the district sent out, you can make as an informed decision as possible. My name is Jerry Christensen. I am one of the assistant principals here at Centennial Middle School. I'm also the athletic director, and I work with students whose last names start with L through Z. And to the left of me on my screen is Ms. Dunan.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. It's good to see you. My name is Kia Dunan, and I am also an assistant principal serving alongside Jerry and Josh, who hopefully will be able to join us back here soon. I oversee activities in the building, and so we're looking forward to getting students back so we can have more clubs up and going during the school day. And I work with families with the last names that start with A through K. We are glad you're here. It looks like there are still a few people joining, and so maybe we'll give Mr. Rosenbaugh hopefully another couple of seconds to get back live with us. And it looks like he's back, and it looks like people are still coming, so we might get going here in another couple of seconds.
So Mr. Rosenbaugh is going to tell you a little bit about the survey and the roadmap to learning that was sent out to your emails that came from Dr. Kulchin.
Well, thank you, everybody. I apologize for my technical difficulties, but appreciate your patience. And I hope everybody's had a chance to see Dr. Kulchin's emails this week, the communications coming from the district, the roadmap to reopening, providing information, what it looks like in terms of, when we come back on the 29th for 7th graders to in-person learning, and on the 12th for 8th graders for in-person learning. So there's a survey out this week. It went out last night for those of you to choose between in-person learning or if you'd like to stay remote for the remainder of the year. And that is going to be due on March 15th, on Monday at 5 p.m. So hopefully today, this evening, you'll be able to see a lot of information so you can make an informed decision. And the first thing we're going to do is actually play.
It looks like we will be finishing each other's sentences tonight. So the first thing we will be doing is playing a video. The video has been made for you to give students and families a snapshot of what a day in the life of a student will look like upon returning to in-person instruction with our new safety guidelines that are in place. One of the most important things about viewing this video tonight is it is just a snapshot. But it is really important to help paint the picture of what school looks like, since it looks so different since we've been home essentially for the last year. So we're excited about having more students in the building, but we ask you to view the video with a lens of what are some of the differences that my student will need to adjust to. So I'm going to go ahead and begin to share my screen, and we'll get the video queued up.
Hello, Centennial. We are thrilled to be welcoming you back to Centennial Middle School. We have been hard at work to create a safe and healthy environment. With that, school is going to look and feel a little different when you return. Each morning, students will complete a daily health screening and breakfast and lunch choices through Qualtrics. If you or someone in your household is experiencing any of the symptoms associated with COVID-19, please do not come to school. If you receive a green check mark, you can come to campus that day. Before you leave your house, make sure you have everything you need for the day, including your mask, backpack, fully charged laptop and charger, and any school supplies you need. Once on campus, students will enter the building through the gym entrance. If you have a mobile device, You will enter the set of doors on the right and show a staff member your green check mark from your health screening. If you completed the screening but do not have a mobile device, line up on the left set of doors. Students who have not completed a health screening will head to the auxiliary gym entrance to receive one. Students will be directed to a sanitation station upon entering the building. Students will enter and remain in the gym, seated at the desks with all of their belongings until dismissed to their first class. After being excused by a staff member from the gym, students will walk directly to their first class of the day. Students will have opportunities to socialize while seated within the gym, but the freedom to gather in groups is no longer a safe option right now. A couple of important things students need to know before arriving on campus. Masks must be worn at all times, except for lunch and during structured mask breaks outdoors. A disposable mask will be available for any student that needs one. Students will stay 6 feet apart as much as possible. Some water fountains have been upgraded to water bottle filling stations, so please bring your own water bottle for the day. Students will wash their hands or use hand sanitizer whenever they arrive at their classroom, prepare for lunch, or when directed by a teacher. Lockers will also not be used this year, and you will need to carry your belongings with you from class to class. When traveling through the hallways, always keep to the right. Markings have been placed on the floors all throughout the building to indicate the 6-foot distance as well as the center of the hallways. Students should always walk to the right of the markings and do their best to always maintain adequate distance from students and staff. We ask that students always keep moving as they transition from space to space and do not stop to visit with others. Classrooms have been arranged as such that desks are 6 or more feet apart, and students will be assigned to specific desks. At the conclusion of each period, students and staff will follow daily cleaning routines for desks and other spaces. There will be 2 lunches divided by grade level. Students accessing a school-provided lunch will line up in the commons and grab a pre-packed lunch, then proceed to their assigned seat in the gym. Students bringing lunch from home will skip the line and proceed directly to the gym and their assigned seat. After 15 minutes at lunch, supervision staff will dismiss students who would like to go outside to the outdoor covered play area or field. There will also be a mask break area outside. Restrooms will have certain occupancy levels that will be posted on the outside of the restroom. Do not form long lines outside the bathrooms. If others are waiting, please return to class and come back at a later time. After your last class of the day, you will head out of the exit closest to you and proceed to leave campus. Breakfast will be pre-bagged and provided to students at the end of the school day. Students who are being picked up will remain physically distanced until their parents arrive. Students riding the bus will go directly to their assigned bus. All bus riders will stand 6 feet apart as they wait to enter, and upon entrance to the bus, they will use the hand sanitizer mounted on the front of the bus on their right. Students will always have their masks on. Students are encouraged to sit with others in their households and will keep their personal belongings with them and all body parts out of the aisle and exit the bus in a safe manner. Again, we are so excited to have you back on campus and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you everyone for watching the video. If you have any questions regarding school reopening, please do not hesitate to contact us at the phone number provided. Thank you and have a great day, and we will see you soon.
Okay. I just want to say thank you to our student actors that came in and participated. We were very lucky that several of our students were willing to come in and participate in creating that video. So just want to thank them and also thank our district theater manager, who's also become our videographer, who has worked very hard in creating that safe to return video for us. So I have the plan to hand it over to Mr. Rosenbaugh. It looks like he's with us right now. So we are working through some tech issues and appreciate your flexibility with us. Mr. Rosenbaugh is frozen. So here we go. So just want to announce and remind families that our goal is to be finished by 6 p.m. tonight, as we know that Snohomish High School is also hosting a webinar, and our families are likely dual enrolled in both of the schools since that's our feeder pattern. So we will respect that time and have you out of here by then. We have a Q&A section. If you're interested in asking any questions, feel free to post that in the Q&A at the bottom, and we will do our best to either answer that in written fashion tonight, verbally in this webinar, or we will communicate out to families if we are not able to get to all of the answers right now. Mr. Rosenbaugh, welcome back. You are on mute.
Thank you, Ms. Dunan. I'll try this again and again. I really apologize for the technical difficulties. First thing, obviously, as you saw in the video, that every day you will get a email in the morning for what's called attestation. So we need to do a health screening every single day. So families will need to fill that out, answer any questions about any symptoms, including if there's a fever or if there's been any exposure to anybody with COVID-19 or any symptoms. And one thing that is very important is to make sure that we don't send any students to school that have any symptoms. So you'll fill that out. Hopefully everything is A-OK and you're ready to come to school. And you'll get a confirmation email with a green check mark. That's your A-OK to come in. And we're going to use that if you have a mobile device that you'll show, as you saw in the video, show that green check mark to a staff member to get checked in. If you don't have a mobile device, that's quite all right. We will have a database for all of the information, but everybody really needs to get that attestation done every day. We will have a process for the limited few that forget on occasion, but we really need to make sure that happens before we get to school. At that point, we'll be entering into the gym. Students will be seated in individual desks, so physically distanced 6 feet apart.
I think we just lost Mr. Rosenbaugh again. So what he's mentioning is that when the students arrive, they'll be in the gymnasium, and the gym will be set up 6 feet apart. Students will have a specific area where they can go and sit until classes start. Mr. Nam, do you want to pick it up from there and also mention the mask policy?
I'd be happy to. And I'm also noticing that there is a question in the chat about the materials that students need to bring. We will have another laptop distribution if your student did not have access to picking up a school issued device already. More information to come on that. Welcome back, Mr. Rosenbaugh. We just finished up a little bit more with the attestation, and I'm going to share with families about our mask policy. Just like stated in the video, once a student arrives on campus, whether it's in a parent vehicle, a bicycle, walking, or a bus, a student needs to have a mask on by the time that they arrive to the time that they leave at the end of the day. So anytime that any person is on campus, we will be wearing masks. If a student does forget to have a mask by the time that they're coming for their screening or attestation, we will have disposable masks available. There will also be masks available for students as they enter the bus if a student forgets to have one. Throughout the day, we will have opportunities for students to have a mask break if they would like one. Our structured mask break daily will take place during lunch outside, supervised by a staff member. And any student that's interested in opting in for a mask break will have access to do so during that time. And classes, teachers have been informed that anytime that they would like to host a mask break with their class, they can take their students outside to a designated location for students and staff to access a mask break together. Mr. Rosenbaugh? Oh, pardon me. It's on to you, Mr. Christensen. Transitions, restrooms, and classrooms.
Thank you, Mr. Nance. So all student passing periods will be 5 minutes long. And if you've noticed in the video, there are dots going down the hallway, dividing our hallway into 2 sections, and up and down the stairwells as well. And we encourage students they all need to walk on the right-hand side of those dots. And we also want to be sure that our students, when they walk, are continually moving as they get to class. That's one of the different things this year is that students will not be allowed to congregate and visit with one another during the hallways. There won't be lockers this year for students to use. They'll need to carry their materials in their backpack, and they'll need to move through the hallways to get to the classroom. by walking on the right-hand side. Students have to be masked during their transition periods, and we'll do our best to have staff and administration will be out to ensure that students are following the protocols in the hallways. Once the students are dismissed at the end of the day, there will be specific exits that are designated for each of the students to leave, and the exits will be the closest to their classrooms. So your end of the day teachers will review that with students of which door they will use to exit. There are 4 exits right now that we have designated for students. And again, staff will be out to ensure that there's no crossing with the students, that they move directly outside through the areas. The last piece that I want to discuss before I turn it back over to Mr. Rosenbaugh and Ms. Dunand is restrooms. All of the restrooms within the school have a maximum capacity sign posted outside. And then there are also dots placed in the restrooms so students know where to stand, so they're so physically distant from one another. So students will be allowed and be dismissed from class to use the restroom. There are some dots also as well for them to queue up if they need to, or they can return to the class and come back at a later time. But we need to strictly enforce how many students are allowed in the restroom at the time. One final note, next to each restroom is a drinking fountain. Unfortunately, this year, all of the drinking fountains have been shut down. But again, as the video showed, there are water bottle filling stations throughout the building. So please encourage your student to bring a water bottle with their name on it. All right, back over to you, Mr. Rosenbaugh.
I think we're actually going to move on to lunch with Ms. Dunand and what that looks like, including breakfast.
Thank you. We appreciate all the questions that are coming in, so please keep them coming. We are doing our best to answer them as we go. And again, if we haven't gotten a chance to answer your question, we will have communication out to you afterwards. The lunch process and breakfast process. So any student that is accessing a school issued lunch will identify that in the morning when they complete the Qualtrics process. One of the questions as you do your attestation is whether you would like to access a breakfast or lunch. And if you are coming on campus, you will get the lunch at school. If you are a remote student full-time or you are a cohort that is not on site that day, you will access your lunch at various locations within the district. More information to come on which elementaries those sites will be, but it will be similar to how we've distributed meals earlier in the year. For students that are getting lunch during the day, once they leave either their 4th period class or whichever class they're leaving from, 3rd or 4th, they'll go straight through the commons and there will be 2 options of cold lunches that they can choose from, and they'll go directly to an assigned seat in the gym where students will have their lunches. Any student that would like to bring a lunch from home can do so. And we are having all students start with assigned seats, and eventually they will get to elect where they would like to sit, hopefully closer to friends that they're more familiar with or new friends from their classes. But again, their seats will be assigned while they're eating lunch. We're starting with a pre-assigned map, and eventually students will get to opt in. And then for students that at the end of the day, all students will be leaving campus with a breakfast. So we will be distributing breakfast at the end of the day for students to have for the following morning. And I think that is all the important information for you to know about lunch. One thing to note, I mentioned earlier about the mask break policy and opportunity for students. Halfway through lunchtime, we do allow students to access outside. So we have traditionally had students go and play on our football, soccer field, the softball area, run on the track, play and kind of shoot hoops. And we know that we can't have sports materials out there that are shared to start right now, but we will be hosting the outdoor activities and opportunities for students so they can get some fresh air, take a mask break, kind of move around and get their wiggles out before they go back to 5th and 6th period. So that is still something that we will do. We lovingly call that our middle school recess. And I think that is it. Mr. Rosenbaugh, what does the end of the day look like?
End of the day, so depending on where you are in the building, we have 4 exits, and so each so that not every student is exiting through the same set of doors like it normally happens. It's through the main entrance. We do have designated areas, kind of 4 quadrants that we will have, and depending on where you are, you'll either exit through the gym doors, the main entrance, or 2 of our side entrances by rooms 101, 102. And by room 124. So we will have lessons on the first day of the school year. And so we will, teach students how they're going to exit class, which way they're going to go. They're going to, walk out to buses physically distant. Students will then be, boarding.
Students will then be boarding the bus, and the students will be masked. There are bus procedures and safety protocols. Those are available on the Snohomish website under frequently asked questions for reopening. So if you want to look at those, they're available. I would really, really encourage all of you to please take a look at the email that accompanied the survey that was sent out to you by Dr. Kulchin. I believe that's going to answer a lot of the questions that you have. For instance, I know I saw a question in the chat that said, is my student going to Zoom all day? That's addressed in that email. So please, and in the letter. So please take a look at that and read that.
There are lots of other really great questions, and we know we're running close on time. So would like to just make a couple announcements and clarifications in our last couple minutes together. So we have had some information go to families regarding asynchronous times where our students are not coming to live Zoom sessions with their classes. And the following dates are set to be as such. The 19th, the 26th, and the 2nd, your students will not be participating in a live Zoom, and more information will be communicated to you about that. If you are not certain about the communication in terms of how you received the survey, that did come from the district communications office, so it could have gone to your junk or clutter. Feel free to double check, but you actually do not need that email in particular. You can just go ahead and log into your parent access, and you will be able to access the survey from there. We also have an opportunity for all of our incoming 7th grade students, because we know that our students haven't actually ever been to our campus and inside the building. So many of our students came in the beginning of our, I guess, end of summer, beginning of the school year, and got their photos taken and picked up textbooks and all that fun stuff, but they didn't actually get to walk the halls of their schools. So we are hosting an open house on the 23rd of March. Again, more information will be communicated, but we are having families sign up their student, and if one adult would like to accompany their student, they are welcome to do that. We will be sending information, and there will be a sign up genius that any 7th grade student and a parent can sign up for, or a guardian or an older sibling. And the hours will be from 1 until 7. That opportunity will also be for our new 8th graders and potentially returning 8th graders. We are going to look at our numbers and make sure that we can accommodate everyone in a safe manner. So please look for further information about that. Another great question is about cohorts. We know that cohorts have been identified by last names A through K and L through Z. A couple of things to take into consideration. We know that some homes have various last names under the same roof. So please let us know if you would like to be considered for a change in cohort. We will take that into consideration. We will also work with families that have siblings in our feeder schools that maybe their student is attending on different days and you have childcare needs. We also have other various reasons that families may need to request a change in cohort. So please just contact myself, Mr. Christensen, Mr. Rosenbaugh, or either of the counselors, and we will get back to you as that is a possibility. We won't be able to accommodate all of those requests, and unfortunately, we won't be able to accommodate the requests so that your students can be with their friends. We do have to take into consideration safety and our numbers in terms of how many we can accommodate in each classroom. So there are a lot of questions that we haven't been able to answer. So I do apologize. We will send out more information. So please do not worry if we have not had a chance to speak to your question. One more thing to take into consideration is once you've completed the survey, there will be more information about whether we can change modality of instruction, whether you have chosen to have your student come on site for the hybrid model and may want to revert back to virtual at a later date or vice versa. We will communicate that at a later time, but once your selection is made to start, that is what we will need for your student to do. Mr. Christensen, did I miss anything? Mr. Rosenbaugh, are you with us?
You did a great job. I think we're going to run out of time. So again, just to kind of summarize what the instructional piece will look like. If you return to school, your students will be in a cohort where they'll attend live classes 2 days a week. 3 days will be synchronous. Those cohorts will be based on alphabet. So that's what the model will look like. And tonight was about what do the safety features look like here at CMS for your students. Again, please look at the email that Dr. Colchin sent out. That'll talk a little bit more also about the instructional piece as well. We want to thank everybody for being here tonight and really thank you for your patience through some of the technical difficulties that we had. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to send us an email or give us a call at the office. We're here to serve you and to serve your students through these really trying times. So we appreciate it.
We appreciate you joining us and we cannot wait to see your students. Thank you. Let us know if you have any questions.